All right. Hey guys, I guess it's starting to become like a normal thing for my lives to like stop working halfway through. The good thing is I can actually see the full chat bar now. I don't know what's going on. So, I hate when that happens because I totally lose my train of thought and I don't remember where I was at in talking about everything. I know I had like talked about how it frustrates me that I don't know what's up with YouTube. Hey Maybird, hey Lauren. And I'm sorry if any of you guys were in the chat and I hadn't addressed you. I was trying to get my thought through before I went back and read the chat, and then my camera stopped working. So it's just great. You just got the notification. Hey, Amber. Yeah, I actually had already been live for like 20 minutes and then my camera stopped working. Oh, thank you, Lauren. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad to see that you're commenting then. Hey, Mila. All right, so we're going to try this again. And I'm just going to try and remember to move the mouse. I think it's the laptop. Once I go too long without touching anything, that maybe it's automatically just shutting down, shutting off the camera at least. I'm not sure. If you're new here, hi, I'm Amanda. I have technological issues all the time because I don't understand YouTube. Moving on. So, for those who maybe are just coming in because you just got the notification, I was just providing like a backstory of the Sophie movement and like how it became publicized and everything going on since then. So aside from like what I had been talking about before, another issue is people I'm one of the YouTubers who really don't mind like people discussing whatever they want to discuss on YouTube. I inherently don't see any issues with people covering this story. Can you have opposing opinions? Yes, you can. Like there's nothing wrong with not wanting to stand with one parent or the other. However, in telling whatever your opinion is and whichever parent side you want to take, you need to make sure that you are putting the child's efforts first and thinking of the child long term and making sure that the stuff that you are saying is you're saying it in an appropriate manner, because Katie, for instance, continues to use incorrect language when she is referring to custodial rights and parental rights. Those are two totally different things. She continues to interchange them, which is misleading. It's misinformation. Because somebody who may not watch Katie Joy, this is my argument, is somebody who may not actually watch Katie Joy on a regular basis and knows she kind of has this history of not doing her own research and pulling it from other places and just regurgitating it. She has that reputation. But in addition to that, she has a reputation of just reading what she sees. And I don't know if she actually, like, genuinely, I do not know if she realizes what she reads is not factual. Like when she exposed that Facebook group, how she just talked and used their language. And I personally had DM'd her and asked her about it because I corrected her in a video. She told me her excuse for using that grammar and those words were, that's the language that they use, so that's how I used it. And at the time, I didn't really put A and B together because this is when I was still very on the fence with Katie. Since then, I have learned she just didn't give a shit to do her research and know what those terms meant. And she has continued to use that. And I have on her videos posted a comment saying, please learn the difference between custody and parental rights, because you're making your argument sound worse than it is. The dad has never lost his parental rights. The children would have never been placed in his custody or in his care temporarily, partly temporarily, by any freaking judge if his parental rights were terminated. And it is not just a simple filing to get your parental rights terminated. I'm sorry, sweetheart, that's custody. That is not parental rights. Please learn the terminology that you want to spew to your 130,000 people watching you. Hey, Dottie, how are you? Yeah, and you know what? She did retract the bratty comment. However, she retracted it and tried to spin it in a way that wasn't factual. I was in that live. She called that little girl bratty. And although she maybe had been responding to a comment, I don't entirely remember, and I'm pretty sure she deleted that live. She agreed in sentiment with that person that she believed it was bratty, and even associated it with her son having a temper tantrum. So she didn't fully retract it. She tried to give it an excuse. And I know that you weren't trying to come for me, Dottie. I'm just clarifying for anybody who saw your comment. That's what she did. Exactly, Lauren. It is about Sophie. It's about the child. It is not about the parents. If you want to push one of the parents' narrative, if you want to be the one to interview the parent to get more information because you think you sitting there and you questioning the parent will help you understand, then do it. It's your channel. You have every right to. At least the Dad Challenge podcast and Annie or Josh and Annie from 10 to Life are being freaking honest about their source and who's giving them the information and how they're getting the information. Because Katie's being shady as all get out about how she's getting the information and that she's going to keep it confidential. However, any other time she's had any exclusive, she has been wanting to do nothing but air out the fact that she has an exclusive. So it's ironic that in a situation this sensitive, when it deals with a child and she has had nothing but continued to be called out about it, that she is going to try and take steps back. Because the information she's being fed, I'm pretty sure is either coming from the mom or the mom's attorneys or a combination of both. And they're probably asking her not to say who it is and to be careful about how she goes about reporting it. You were a member of hers and then you left 2 months ago. Yeah, she's rapidly gone downhill in my personal opinion. Her content, her behavior has decreased very quickly recently, and I have concerns as to why, and I don't necessarily feel like they're appropriate for this particular live. That is a question I want to know, Lauren. Is her membership for 3 months? Hey, Jennifer, how are you? I understand that, Jay. And you've been in my lives where I've discussed that. I just am, for sake of just keeping this kind of on topic, yeah, getting your parental rights. I'm trying to wonder if I even want to talk about this. So in my old job, which if you've seen some of my lives where I've talked about this story specifically, you can deduce what work I did. I can almost guarantee you I'm never going to come out and say exactly what I did for a multitude of reasons. However, I dealt with this kind of stuff often. I would be in situations where parents wouldn't have their children for legitimate reasons of abuse and neglect. And it would take years, even if they had zero contact, if they were still either using substances or participating in whatever bad behavior resulted in them not having custody of their child in the first place. It would take years with no change, no positive change in that family's life before the state would even think about filing for termination of parental rights. And at that point, it becomes like a trial and a hearing. It's not just a piece of paper that one side of the family thinks needs to happen. Now, you can voluntarily give up your parental rights, but that dad's not going to do that. Okay, Lauren, when you became a member, it was monthly. I wonder, maybe at the end of this live, if you guys remind me, I'll go over to her page and see what it pulls up as. Yeah, I know she agreed with that comment. Like, I mean, she can try. Katie is very good at manipulating things into the way she wants them to be. That's why she can sit on camera and convince people of the stuff she is trying to convince them of right now, because she is very good at lying. Because ultimately that's what it comes down to, is she there, especially when she knows the stuff that she is saying is incorrect, that's a lie. If you know what you are saying is not correct, factual, or valid, then you are lying to your audience. Can you retract something you say without an apology? I think it depends on what the topic is, on if people are going to take you seriously moving forward. Like, it's going to ding your credibility. Sherry said to me it didn't sound like she was responding to a comment. Yeah, if you actually listen to it, it doesn't at all. But I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, because I'm pretty sure that video has been deleted, and I'm not going to perpetuate shit she perpetuates by just saying something off of my memory. I'm trying to give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Do I want to? Absolutely not. Because she really doesn't deserve it. Yeah, Dottie, I knew you weren't coming after you. I didn't want you to take it as what I was saying for clarification to anybody as me coming after you for making that comment. She's on now. I wonder what she's talking about. Oh, you left her a super chat, Dottie? Yeah, I don't. That's a whole nother issue with her. I don't appreciate, and she had that live, was it live, that video? But like, she addresses how she had it on members only, and the reason she did that was to try and prevent Michael, the people that Michael sends after her, to get in her comments and try and bully her or sway her viewers. You know, like, to me it's it's BS. It really is BS, because she just wants the money. She was responding to a comment. I mean, let's be objective about this comment while we're sticking on it. Like, let's kind of take a step back and be objective. It shouldn't matter if she was responding to a comment. Like, she is, as much as all of us hate to say it, she's an influencer. So she has the ability to influence people, the way people think, their opinion on things. She has that ability. She has a platform. I have that ability. I have a platform. Although my platform is not the size of hers, I still have a platform, correct? So her even acknowledging something, a statement like that, and like continuing to comment on it, was poor taste. If anything else, it was in poor taste. We all know, if you've ever been in any of her lives, she did to talk about that. She was happy that somebody commented that, for her to respond to it, in my opinion. It's okay, Amber. I understand people are going to ask what I did, and that's fine. I'm not going to say it, probably not for a while, just because there's no reason for people really to know, especially when I put as many hints out in my videos as I do. You can very easily deduce the kind of work I did. Did she really, Dottie? You know, I've watched that live, and you know, to be honest, like, I'm so irritated with her. Like, I going into that live, what's crappy about this, and I'm not gonna lie, like, we all know I kind of already have an opinion of Katie. I had already watched the Dad Challenge podcast video in length, and then I was watching hers, which kind of skews it a little bit because I already was irritated based off of what he said and how he reacted and what his response was to what she did. So I watched those videos backwards. At the end of the day, does it really matter? I don't think so, but I mean, that is how it is. So at some of the parts when she was just blabbing on and on, I kind of doled out a little bit. So when she was addressing the super chats, I really didn't listen to that part. I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you I did. Yeah, and as you guys can probably tell, my subs who have been here for a while, I took the Does Life. This is random while I'm trying to catch up in the chat. I took the Does Life off of my YouTube name just because when I started this channel, I didn't know the route it was going to take. I thought I would end up being more of a vlogging channel than falling into commentary. Since I have fallen into commentary, and I may eventually do vlogs, but if I do, I would probably create a second channel for that. I will name it something else, but I took that off of my name. Also because a lot of my fellow YouTubers who refer to me, they haven't told me that it's hard to say my full name before, but I could tell they would forget parts of it. So I just took the Does Life off of it. Way before the Amber Portwood stuff. Isn't that what really, hey Claire, isn't that what really like jump started her YouTube to begin with? That's what I've heard. You know your stuff, and yeah, I do know my stuff and how the system works because for anybody who's new in the chat, I personally was a child who was in foster care for 10 years before I got adopted. So my knowledge on the foster care system, the adoption system is lengthy from a professional standpoint. I have also experienced both. I worked in child welfare for 2 years. So, and that's been in my recent work history. It's still monthly, Dottie. Yeah, I don't understand how she felt it was appropriate to call the child a brat, because especially when this is during the time that she was trying to kind of push the Me Too movement and her own story. Yeah, she does get gleeful. She does. She gets you can tell she's happy whenever she thinks that she is calling somebody out for something. She's talking about Michael, apparently. Is she talking about Michael, or did she get the update from the lawyers? She has a $50 tier that makes you a mod for a month. Is that for real? Yeah, Amber, and that's what's annoying to me about her doing super chats and member only chats is she's doing it with the intention to gain more money. Think of it from a business standpoint, and I've talked about this before, but think of it from a business standpoint. Like, she has this YouTube. She knows she's going to talk about something that is going to pull people in who hardcore hate her, who hardcore hate that she's talking about this topic, who are totally against Kelly. She knows that her video titles are going to bring in those people. So what she does is she turns on members only chats. So people who want to troll or people who want to be able to voice their opinion are not only going to have to pay for members only, but if they actually want Katie to see it, they're going to have to super chat her. That is how she operates her channel. And it is super, super shady. Like, I don't understand how this woman has a legitimate, like, faithful subscriber base when she does things like this. She treats her subs like crap. You should not force your subs to pay money just to interact with you. I don't think that that's fair. I understand the reason for memberships and giving them exclusives, but that's it. Give them exclusive content. Don't end up like kicking out half of your fans or your sub, whatever she refers to her followers as. She's restricting even a lot of her own viewers to be able to participate in the chat because some people can't afford it, which is another ironic thing because she wants to continue to run these giveaways and things like that and acknowledge that it's hard in the world right now. Financially, with everything going on, people are struggling, and she has praised herself and the fact that she has given back to some of her subscribers. But it's almost like those subscribers are probably giving that money straight back to her to be able to pay for their YouTube membership with her. Hey, Nene. Yeah, Katie is disgusting. And we're going to get more into it. I just wanted to catch up with the chat. Yeah, her Twitter does only reach like 5 comments. And that's if she leaves the ability to comment on her Twitter, because she doesn't. A lot of her Twitter tweets that she puts out, she makes it to where you can't comment on it. Cherry, you think she's doing it for the negative attention? I mean, that is a possibility, and I've talked about that possibility before. She is relying on YouTube to support her family. Yeah. It's okay, Jay. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. I'm just skimming through. TMZ paid her $10,000. Legitimately? For what? Okay. The title is Mom Speaks Out About the Fake GoFundMe. How can a GoFundMe be fake? Can somebody, like, this is a legitimate question. I am so naive when it comes to GoFundMes. I'm not going to lie. How can a GoFundMe be fake? Because you are asking for donations for whatever. Like, Joe Schmo could make a GoFundMe because he can't afford his medical bills, correct? Is that not what it's for? Hasn't Katie created a GoFundMe for attorney fees before? Like, anybody can create a GoFundMe. How can you create one and it be fake? I know that sounds stupid because I can sit here and argue the fact that it could be fake if everything was a lie, but we're not banking on a child being a liar. And that is exactly what Katie is pushing out there. I don't have access to her Patreon. I never have. You got mad enough to send her a super chat? When I was on the fence with Katie and still trying to figure stuff out, I sent her super chats. I'm not going to lie. I didn't send her, like, I'll send Sloan and like Britt and even BX Beast Boy if I can catch one of his lives. I've sent them all super chats, and not that I've sent them like $50 ones, but I've sent them like $5, $10, $15 super chats to support them. A super chat is supposed to be supportive of the creator. It's not supposed to be, oh, you have to do this, so I will acknowledge you. That's not what the super chat is about. It's like a tipping service. If you like what you're hearing, if you agree, then you are able to give them a super chat. I mean, that's as simple as it is. I'm pretty sure I have my super chats are enabled. And have I ever asked anybody for a super chat? And I go live all the time. Not once have I ever asked for one. If anything, I have encouraged when I became monetized not to send me super chats, because I don't want you guys to feel like you have to tip me to let me see your comments. I want you all to feel acknowledged just by engaging in the chat and being a part of the conversation. That's what that is meant for. Yeah, she did a Q&A recently, like a few weeks ago, where she said, super chats are going to get my answers because they're easier to see. Verbatim, that's pretty much what she said. TMZ denied paying Katie any money. I hope, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, if she did work for, I'm under the like thought process, if you do work and like there's a contract or an agreement and you do the work, even if it's shitty work, like you should still get some kind of payment out of it. But maybe you should be paid, your pay should reflect your work. Did that make sense? Like, if you did a crappy job, you shouldn't get paid as much as if you had done a good job. And she said something about being happy that she was, that Vicky from Eyeshadow Island had referred to her as TMZ. She found that as a compliment. Hey, Jazzy J. Hey, Jen. Hey, Melody. Oh, I guess I had put stuff in the lid of that. You sent a nasty message with it. Oh. See, and I don't understand why she got involved with, like, why she wanted to get involved with the Amber Portwood stuff to begin with. Yeah, Captain, you're probably right that they're using the term fake, but they mean scam. But if they say scam, they could probably get into some kind of legal trouble. So they're saying fake to cover their butts. I could see that. I could see that being the premise of that video. You're probably right. Hey, Leslie. Okay. It seems that there's like a little bit of debate on whether or not TMZ actually paid her or not. I mean, really, it doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day, and I don't want you guys to feel like you need to argue each other about it. It is what it is. Like, if she got paid, she got paid. How she got it, it should be questionable, but if she provided them a source, if it was that much, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, but a tabloid like TMZ would have the funds to be able to throw at somebody. So, you know, I could see where they maybe did pay her, but I could see where they maybe wouldn't too. Yeah, Dottie, I know there are legitimate scams on GoFundMe, and maybe that's what they're trying to push out into the world. So let's kind of continue a little bit. So what had happened was last night, or was it yesterday day? I'm not sure exactly what time, but Katie posted a video saying that she had all of this exclusive information from a source of the family, stating that, you know, the mom had filed all of these orders and had screenshots of court filings. And I'm pretty sure her information is coming from the attorney, because the screenshot that she shows where it says motion and hearing filed and things like that, the very top, it's cut off, it says case status. So I think that that is whatever software or program that the attorneys use to file with the courts. I think they have screenshot and edited it and given it to her to use in her video. I mean, she also says a whole bunch of stuff. Like, she says that Sophie doesn't understand what she's saying. She's 10 years old. I understand when she made, or she's 9 or 10. When she made this disclosure, she was 8 years old. And an 8-year-old has the ability to know the difference between a truth and a lie. Can a child be brainwashed? Yeah, they can. However, I don't think that that's the case. A lot of people don't think that that's the case. She also tried to allude to the dad not caring about the sons and only caring about the boys. I have seen him on live before on Facebook, like a re-uploaded live. I have seen his interview with Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast, and he talks about the little boys too. He cares about the little boys. His main focus is Sophie because she's the one who provided a concerning disclosure of serious abuse. So I would hope his focus would be on Sophie and her safety, because right now her safety is the one that is in question. Good night, Claire. Thanks for popping in while you could. Yeah, and she's also kind of talking about this court case from as if it was a criminal court case, and it's not. Like, criminal court and dependency court operate fairly differently. Yeah, and and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, I don't really know how to even I don't understand people's argument of saying you don't have to believe Michael's narrative to believe Sophie, because all Michael has done is make the video online and let it go viral. He didn't know it was going to go viral. Did he maybe hope it would so it could gain the traction it has? Yeah, I'm sure he did, because that was his intention, to get attention, for somebody to hear his voice. So I don't understand how that one little act now turns into the dad is money hungry. The dad knew what he was doing because he's previously worked in a digital marketing. What does that even matter? Yeah, I agree, Jen. Like, and Dottie, I have as well. And I haven't even talked about, like, when I have discussed this story, I have been, I've tried to remain very neutral in how I talk about it and try to not make it about the parents, which is funny because some YouTubers actually seem to be able to kind of do a good job at that. Not that I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm not the only one who's been able to try and provide both sides and provide the argument to each side. What's frustrating is Katie says that that's what she's doing, but it's not. All she is doing is providing information from the mom or the mom's attorneys, and then she's turning around and saying, well, the people who have talked specifically to the dad, you guys need to be careful, you have a lawsuit coming. What gives her the right to threaten them? What gives her the right? Because she wants to remain relevant to some degree. Like, she even said when she posted that video where she was saying that the habeas corpus and stuff like that was being filed, she said at the very beginning, I know this story has died out, but, and went on this whole video. She was bringing traction back, and that is a calculated move by whoever is giving her information. That's fine, Captain. You'll understand in my chats. You can disagree with me. I'm not going to attack you. I'm going to ask you further questions to understand your viewpoint, because unlike Katie, I actually care that I am neutral and that I give everybody the opportunity to speak and I don't delete you. I don't know about his work history. Until she made that comment, I didn't know about his work history. But honestly, what relevance does that have? That he maybe knew how to make something go viral? Does that question the fact that the child disclosed? I mean, there is legitimate questionings, and I've played devil's advocate in that, on why the dad posted it. You can play it either way that you want. You can convince anybody either way that you want. You can take it from either side. You honestly, truly can. This whole case, you can take either way. Every piece of information, aside from the initial video, I mean, whether it's clipped together or not, like I said earlier, the emotion is there for that little girl. She has been traumatized to some extent. She is a victim of abuse and neglect. Maybe from one parent, maybe from both parents. Who the hell knows? There are active investigations occurring. And I understand people keep saying, no, there's not. No, there's not. Law enforcement is not going to tell the public when it is as public as it already is, causing the issues it has because it's public. They don't have to tell us. CPS doesn't have to tell us. And that's another issue I have with Katie, is she continues to say all of the cases with CPS were unfounded. How the hell do you know? How do you know? Unless you are talking to the mother or the father, you would not know how those are closed because they're confidential and only the parents can know. She cannot get any copies of that because it's confidential. Only a parent can get a copy of your CPS records. And where I'm from, you couldn't even provide that to your lawyer. Did people do it anyways? Yeah, they did, but they're not supposed to because those investigations are that confidential. So unless I actually see a report that says it was closed unfounded, I don't care. Those are just words. He shared with me. I didn't catch that. Oh, you're still talking about the Amber Portwood stuff. Really, Carrie? Yeah, I mean, that's super expensive, but I mean, court is expensive, especially when it comes to custody. And Katie doesn't know her left from her right foot. Melanie said, didn't that TikTok person start the fact that he was going to get sued? Who is going to get sued? Hey, Michelle. Yeah, no problem, Captain, always. For anybody who may be sitting in here, because there's a lot more people in this chat than I typically have, or who are viewing than I typically do, please feel comfortable if you have an opposing opinion of mine. I don't have mods. I'm the only one who moderates my channel right now, so feel free to provide your opinion. It's not going to get deleted unless it's super hurtful. And not, if it's hurtful towards me, I could care less. Just don't attack the people in the chat. You know, Mother Funk, I kind of wondered that because at the very beginning, and some people have called this out, and I think Annie mentioned it in the Dad Challenge Live when she was in it in the morning, the beginning. I mean, I don't know if there's actual screenshots of this anymore, but she was the one who got into the Facebook group that Michael had at the very beginning of this becoming viral, who made a post saying, I have X amount of followers, blah, 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 blah. And then they didn't reciprocate. So all of a sudden, she then started getting on live and making these videos, convincing people or trying to convince people that the dad's a liar and he's all in it for the money. Like, does she seriously, I mean this objectively, and then I'm going to catch up in the chat. And this is a serious question. Like, I'm not trying to be like hurtful or anything, but is she that thick? And for people who kind of are in agreement with her about Michael doing this for money, explain to me why you think a man would allow this to go this public and run the risk of, if this is all made up, if this is all a lie, let's say we're running that risk. Do you really think he would continue to push this? Like, he is at the point where he will probably, if this was fake and he conjured all this, he is facing a lot of jail time. So all of this money he has gotten, Like, it's not going to matter if he ends up in jail. And this is so public that why would he continue to say the same things he's been saying if this was all just for money? He has gotten the money he needs at this point. If it was literally just for money, he's met that threshold. So why would he continue? I don't see the fact on why somebody would do that. Why they would risk absolutely everything. Those children do need help. Another issue I have with how Katie reported on it was she was insinuating that Michael and his wife, Courtney, are not providing the children education and that they're not getting therapy help. You don't freaking know that. Do not tell your viewers that they are not doing these things and that you know for a fact if they were with the mom, these things would be met. Because again, you don't know. You are not a part of that household. You don't know. It is all hearsay. So you want to sit here and you want to continue to tell everybody that they shouldn't talk about it unless they're talking about the facts and the evidence. It's all about the facts and the evidence and me remaining in the middle. She needs to literally put a mirror in front of her face and say those exact things, because she is not even following her own advice that she wants to give other creators, but she wants to turn around and threaten to some degree these other creators. Although she is not saying, I am going to sue you, she is saying you need to be careful because of what you're saying is obviously false. Well, you are getting information from her attorneys. They're getting information from the dad's attorneys and the dad. We're not going to know. Point blank, period. Like, that's what everybody needs to come to the understanding of. Until court happens, until investigations are completed, we're not going to know. So she needs to stop pushing her narrative. At least the dad has the balls to get on people's lives and let people question him. And, Katie wanted to say that, he is unstable. He has allowed himself to be criticized in a public forum multiple times. He has been on multiple lives, allowed people to ask him questions, which he sees and he is responding to. And he has maintained his composure when he sees people doing nothing but coming at him. How is he unstable? Of course, off camera, he could be somebody totally different than what we're seeing on camera. But if you're trying to say somebody is that unhinged and that unstable, if they really were, if they saw a comment coming after them repeatedly, like in these lives he's in, he would come unhinged, or he would pop off at these people like Jeffree Star does, because Jeffree Star is unstable. I don't think Michael Long is unstable to the extent that you are trying to portray people he is. Try and catch up in the chat. Sorry, guys. Hey, for everybody who's come in. Katie Joy is delusional. I agree, Charlene. She's been delusional for a while. Yeah, I was glad to see that guardian ad litem was appointed too. I don't think she understands what they actually do, though, because she couldn't really provide a decent explanation. Yeah, okay, Mother Fun. Thank you for clarifying that she was the one who went into the Facebook group and said that. Jen, allegedly, he was in some kind of HR marketing that taught people how to use social media as a marketing platform. Hey, Selena. I know some of you have been in here for a minute and it's taking me a while to acknowledge you, and I apologize. Yeah, I know who you meant, Michelle. Yeah, Dottie, It's concerning on how the mom and the grandmother reacted to the information. Either, in my opinion, either they have heard this before because the child's made the disclosure before, or they were just totally shocked and were trying to give excuses. Has it been clarified if they were aware that they were being filmed? Because I don't think they were aware. Yeah, it is a violation of the child, for sure. And Katie and everybody else. So here's something. Here's a little bit of another bit of me playing some devil's advocate with you guys. I understand this situation, how it definitely is violating the child, because, we're talking about a child who's disclosed something terrible happening to them. I understand how that is definitely a violation of that child's privacy. The father's the one who put that out there. So to some degree, do I think it's any better? No. But does that allow us to kind of talk about it? In my opinion, it does. However, the devil's advocacy part that I wanted to play is we have family channels on here displaying their children nude and things of that nature. And they have millions and millions of followers. And yeah, there are some of us who speak out against those family channels. But where is the same energy? Like, everybody wants to gung-ho and say, we are violating S's privacy. And I agree, we are. But why are we not saying the same thing continuously to these family bloggers who are displaying concerning behavior with their children? Does that make sense? Yeah, she does keep posting about this deflection. She deleted your comment. Yeah, she's kind of notorious for that. If she deleted a comment, you probably got blocked shortly after that. Yeah, the situation with the mom and the law enforcement was questionable on how the mom's behavior was. Yeah, that's a true statement, Amber. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have access to any ongoing trials. I think it's all going to, there was a filing in the screenshots that Katie showed. There was a filing for it to be private moving forward, which probably is in the best interest. However, that's putting us back in the same situation where mom's going to continue her narrative and dad's going to continue his narrative. It's really going to end up being us knowing by where the children end up at the end. And what we have to keep in mind is this is a custody battle. So it's not like the children are going to be permanently removed from one parent or the other. And Katie wants to continue to talk about and perpetuate how there is going to be, somebody's going to be arrested, or that there's going to be criminal charges against one party. That goes both ways. There could be criminal charges against one person if you want to convince people of your view of one thing, just like there could be for the other side. Oops. You don't think we deserve all the answers? Did anyone? I screenshotted her tweets last night, Jen, but I don't know if I've actually read them. Yeah, Dottie, that is her behavior, that if she says anything questionable or anything that might be misconstrued, she deletes it. And typically those are the ones where she is partaking in adult beverages. I have kind of made that correlation. Not all of her videos of which she is drinking get deleted, but a good majority of her lives where she is drinking are deleted. And I know in one of her lives here recently that I was actually able to make it in somebody asked her why she deletes her lives, and she said that everybody knows that on her channel it's customary for her to delete them after a day or two, which she primarily does, but some of them she leaves up too. So it's like, what's your defining factor on why you delete them? Yeah, Melody, I went on a huge rant on a different live about her doing that. Yeah, Dottie, a lot of people think the father did it as a last resort, and that's what he said he did. I can, and I can have that argument too, Mother Funk, that the dad violated the child's privacy. Although and I'm not saying you can't, but I can see where if he had gone through every other avenue and felt he had no other option but to try and make it public, I could understand. Oh, she deleted the entire post. Is that normal for her? I don't feel like that's normal for her to delete an entire tweet post. Normal is a myth. You've held that opinion from the start, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a lot of people who aren't like flat out calling the dad a liar or the child a liar and are, supportive of the child and question the dad's motives and behavior. You can understand that the child provided a disclosure and believe the child and have legitimate questions about the dad's actions and how he has handled that. Does that mean you come on a platform of however many people are willing to listen to you and say he's doing this for money because that is your opinion? No, you shouldn't do that. You should not do that. Could you have a very calm, not saying that she's not calm in most of her videos, but could you have a good conversation, like an actual discussion with your following and ask their opinions and kind of, have a good I don't know, I'm looking for a term and it's not coming to my brain, but have like a conducive conversation about it. Yeah. Did she choose to do that? No, because that's not how Katie operates. Katie operates under, I read this, I saw this, somebody told me this, I'm going to hop on my channel and repeat it. I'm going to regurgitate it while it's on my mind. And then I'm going to hop on a live later today or tomorrow night, drink some wine and mess up a lot of the information and then have to delete it and then get called out about it and then make something bigger the next day so I can cover up my tracks. That is the behavior with her I have noticed. Dottie says she won't talk about other channels because she can't make money off them. She doesn't want cease and desist letters. And at the end of the day, it's all about the money. In my opinion, she is running her channel to gain money. Do I think there's an appropriate way? Like, I shouldn't say appropriate. Do I think that there is a more beneficial way to do that for you and your following? Absolutely. There are people on here who do this as their job and they do it well. They don't make their viewers feel like they're paying for their rent, but they are. There are ways to make your YouTube channel your sole income and do it well and do it with integrity and honor. Katie Joy is not that. In my opinion, she is not that. She does it the way that nobody should. She takes advantage of her viewers. She makes them feel bad. She abuses her moderators. I mean, in what way is she a good YouTuber, aside from the fact that she will constantly pump out content and she is consistent in that? She's got that down. She's got that down better than I do. But I also think she doesn't talk about YouTubers because it riles up the community, and then she ends up losing subs. Yeah, I've heard that the motions were denied. They really had, and that's the problem with this custody stuff is, Katie wants to, I can't fully remember how she tried to like compress what has happened with the courts and how the children have ended up with a dad, but she tried to twist a really weird narrative on how the children ended up with a dad, that there was initially a no contact order in place. I had watched the review of that court proceeding, and the judge said the no contact order was in relation to any male aside from a relative. It was not including the father. Unless she's referring to something else, but the timing would have been for that when that was aired, and she misspoke. Hey, Pat, how are you? Yeah, she does some weird stuff when she's on lives. I mean, I'm going to say, that could be a part of her disorder. I have it as well. And as you guys have noticed, I'm typically moving my hands or messing with something, and that's to try and stay focused. I don't know if it's the same for her. However, she's medicated, so that should be, helping quite a bit with that. I'm not. So I don't know what that's about. You need to consult the Reddit. I still don't know how to operate the Reddit, so I'm not good at that. What's interesting? I just lost my place. I might have skipped some comments. Sorry, guys. I lost my spot. Maybe I don't think she has Tourette's, Susie. An open adult dialogue. I think that's what's best, especially when you're trying to be a commentary channel. Like, isn't that what it's all about? It's Wednesday. You're lucky to be coherent. Hey, Terry. No, she's not doing it for the kid. Like, you can't sit there and say that you're doing it for the kid and that you're being objective, but then call the kid a liar, because she specifically states that it's all a lie, that everything is a lie. So she's calling Sophie a liar, and then she starts talking. That's when she starts talking about how she was told by this source that she thinks that Sophie doesn't know what she is saying, and how traumatizing it is for her, and how it's going to affect her long term. Yeah, she does say that dad's only doing it for the money. Well, she's only covering the story for the money too, so she's quite the hypocrite, isn't she? Custody cases are so complicated. Yeah, I mean, in some custody cases, like, in all honesty, like, if we want to just take all of this out for just a second and just talk about custody for a minute, any custody case that you have parents who, like, can't agree on some kind of shared custody, I'll typically end up, like, with some kind of drama, because they don't want to have to share. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And parents will pit the children against each other. And it's disgusting and it's vile. Does that necessarily mean it rises to that level? Not most of the time. It doesn't raise to the level of, the children being in a situation where they're unsafe. In this particular scenario, no matter what, and the children have, obviously, no matter what ends up being the truth, the children have suffered a great deal. She made it sound like he just took the kids back in his own. Yeah, and I mean, what's ironic is, she made it seem that way, and she made it seem like there was a no contact order. Well, then are you calling the judge dumb for placing the children with the dad? because that's kind of what you're alluding to. Yeah, her calling out the Dad Challenge podcast and 10 to Life I don't know how that's going to work out for her. You know, the Dad Challenge podcast has always remained very neutral with her and has not spoken out about her, even though his subs have asked him to or have tried to warn him about her. He has acknowledged the fact that he gets those messages and that he wasn't going to go down that route, that, you know, he kind of didn't care, but he sees what they're saying. She has ruffled up some feathers with him. It was very obvious, and he called her out, and I thought it was hilarious. In like the first 10 minutes, they called her dumb. They called her an idiot because she believed that the fraud report, press report that the mom's attorneys had put out, how she believed that that was factual and there was actually an investigation, and that she, you know, spread that to her viewers. Again, she's just spewing information that she gets thinking it's factual when it's not, and her not knowing what she's talking about. Half the stuff she talks about, I honestly, at this point, think she doesn't understand, or she doesn't know what she's actually saying. The only stuff I think she legitimately understands and knows through and through is her reality TV stuff. That's just my opinion. But they called her out for believing that. And then, you know, it kind of makes her look foolish, because then the dad's attorneys have since come out with a press release stating the exact same thing that Dad Challenge and 10 to Life said. And Katie wanted to call out 10 to Life in the Dad Challenge podcast for addressing that, but she didn't call out that attorney. And you know why? Because she would end up in some kind of issue legally. Oh, Michelle, I know that feeling. My huskies get out all the time, and I have to go chase them down. Yeah, Jay, I kind of wonder if some of that is jealousy. And she wanted to bring up, in some previous lives, she brought up 10 to Life's channel growth and views and all of that since she started covering this channel. I mean, this story. You know, you can't really call out another channel when you're doing the exact same thing. I don't understand why she even brought that up, because people can have the same argument for why she's talking about it. Yeah, Lauren, I could see that. Hopefully, I'm hoping people will kind of, you know, be willing to cut their losses on their content when everything is settled, and delete the videos or edit stuff out so it's not obvious of who you're talking about. That is my intention, is to delete them. But I don't think a lot of other YouTubers will. Melanie asks, in your opinion, do you think there's a possibility that the children will be split, like S with Dad, and the boys can see both Mom and Dad? So the only scenario I see that working out like that, like from a professional standpoint, is if it's founded that if the mom would not be willing to not have the alleged perpetrator around. And I know people have issues with the term alleged perpetrator. That is for legal reasons, because although this child has disclosed, I am not going to risk getting in trouble by saying he for sure is the perpetrator. And I've had that discussion in other lives. If you're interested in that, look for my other lives where I talk about Sophie. But I will refer to him as an alleged perpetrator. The only reason I see that happening is if, you know, it is ordered that Sophie cannot be around that individual and the mom refuses to kick him out of the house, then maybe a scenario like that would happen. Katie also, that reminds me, Katie at one point said that the dad only had visitation. Where is she getting that term from? Like, they still have shared custody. Whether the mom was the primary custodial parent, they still have shared custody. They're still both parents. you still have parental rights until your parental rights are terminated. You still have parental rights, which is your rights to custody and to see your children and have time sharing. But, you know, she can't take 5 minutes to figure out what these terms actually mean. Yeah, Charlene's right. He's only shown support for Katie in the past. Even when he interviewed BX, like, really think about Josh and how, like, neutral he has been with Katie, because when he did that interview with BX Beast Boy, like, him and Katie had just gone through that drama, and he did not even, they were so professional in the fact that they didn't even address that. They talked about everything else related to YouTube content, you know, their upbringings, things like that, but they did not address the Katie stuff. And I'm sure it was because BX probably didn't want to dredge it up and go through everything, because it was still freshly, like, newly had happened. And, you know, I don't think Josh wanted to put himself in that situation. So Jay, I didn't know why she got off. I did hear in the beginning she said she only had 10 minutes, but I didn't know that was the reason. Hi, Mandy. You unsubbed about a month ago. So Mandy, if you don't mind, and if you don't feel comfortable, don't feel obligated, but if you wouldn't mind, could you say, like, what happened a month ago for you to unsub from her? Yeah, her saying in a tweet they won't post court info at 9:30 at night. Be smarter, people. That can be set time. It could be a set time in their server. We also need to keep in mind there is a global pandemic occurring. So courts are operating differently. I can tell you that. I can attest to that 100% because my current work is dealing with the justice system, and stuff gets filed late sometimes. So that's not necessarily true. Dark Lily says she thinks she's holding out for an interview from mom. She could be. She could also be getting her information from mom, and mom's not willing to allow herself to be criticized by the internet. So that's why she's not getting out online. It could be because she's afraid too many people are going to poke holes in what she may say publicly. You think she shouts other people out as bait to, like, pull them in? She could be. She's stopped doing that since everything happened that went down with BX. Oh man, I wanted to read that. Where did it go? Petra said, oh, she's saying he gave up his right. No, that's not. Is that really what she said? So Petra's comment said, oh, she's saying he gave up his rights because he moved to another state. Your parental rights don't change because you moved to a different state. Would your visitation in your custody, like, if you choose, say, hypothetical, say you have two parents and they have 50-50 shared custody. If parent A, doesn't even matter which parent, if parent A moves from where both A and B parents live, like states, and moves like 2 states over, until it is addressed in court, it's still 50-50, but it is up to the parent who moved to make the adjustments for that 50-50. And depending on how their custody is laid out for the children's school and medical and stuff like that, that parent may be SOL and may be giving up their visitation rights for that move. I mean, everything has to be addressed in court. So whatever order was issued last is what stands. Yeah, I don't think he knew it would get as large as it has. Uh-uh. Really, Mandy? Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if she's a mod in some kind of Facebook group because she has gotten into some kind of cahoots with this Critical K individual who I have not seen their content. I have heard about their content. But they're the ones who had created the opposing Facebook group to the Sophie Army or I Stand with Sophie group that had started all of this. So that's just disgusting. Yeah, no, I can pull up Katie. I did pull up Katie Social Blade before I got on here. I also have an app called TubeBuddy. Most YouTubers have it when you're new to help you like learn how to make sure you're using the correct tags and getting suggestions on how to make sure that, you know, your video is actually seen when people search. So I have that app and it shows percentages and like her subscribers shows like it's been going up and then it stalled for a little bit and then it shows a red line like this. That's what it shows on my end when I looked at it earlier. Yeah, her sub buying is a little weird if she's doing that. Mental Health Master. I haven't heard of them. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, and that's because Sloan is also trying to remain relatively neutral when it comes to her, and understandably so. Like they have larger platforms, so it is going to cause more of a ruckus. Like now that they've called each other out at this point, you know, I would be surprised if it stops overnight. Like I would be surprised if this isn't brought up again or that like they don't have to address each other again or because you know Katie's going to try and drag this out for what she can. The difference is Josh has loyal subscribers because he's a genuine person. Not saying Katie doesn't have that as well, but Josh is a genuine person, whereas I think a lot of people struggle with Katie because she's not very genuine. Really? Where did you hear that, Jen? Melody, how did she offend you? I mean, she lies to everybody, no offense, but she lies to everybody openly. But how did she offend you? Ow. Oh, so you're monitoring Social Blade? Hmm. You guys are clever. Yeah, Mandy, a lot of stuff goes down on Twitter with Katie. Like she's totally different on there than she is on her YouTube. Oh man, I keep losing my spot. Sorry if I'm skipping your comments, guys. I'm not trying to. Lauren. Oh, Lauren really doesn't like Critical K. Okay. She does create drama to some extent, for sure. Yeah, Petra. So what happened? Interesting that you talk about that. So around that time, this is when right after the BXB boy was like, I'm done talking about her. Like, let's move on. And nobody was talking about her for a little while. Sloan went on a Instagram live and he was outside. He had his mask hanging from his ear and his live was maybe only 5 minutes long. Katie sent him a public tweet. Like he had posted a picture of something and Katie commented under there in a public tweet and was like, please wear your mask. And I commented back and I was like, you obviously didn't watch the live. He was outside and he wasn't around anybody. Like, why are you judging him for being in a public space, not in like a public enclosed space, not wearing a mask? That's like us telling you while you're on live, you need to have your mask on. It didn't make any sense. And then shortly after that, he tweeted out, or he said in a live, that she had wasn't following him anymore. And then the issue got resolved. So she's just trying to stir shit wherever she can stir it. She doesn't have empathy. I agree with that. Oh no. I'm almost caught up, I think. She makes you anxious. Yeah, I can see her behavior might make quite a few people anxious. Oh, Melody, is that what had offended you when she was? I'm sorry. That stinks that, she does a lot of things that I don't think she really tries to take the seat of her viewers or tries to be objective in the fact that, although she has a medically fragile child that she likes to she'll say, and she'll reference that and how she is limited on where she goes and what she does. She doesn't realize that when she makes comments like that, like, she becomes relatable to people who maybe have illnesses and can't leave the home and feel like that connection with her. And then it's like a slap in the face when she comes back on a day or two later and is like, oh, I went and got my lips done. And I'm not judging her for getting her lips done or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, she has to be able to understand why people are offended and why she gets criticism for that, because she is pulling at people's heartstrings to like her, and then she's slapping them in the face. I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm sorry you got offended by that. That really sucks. Like, I wish some influencers, including her, would really think about the things that they're going to say. Like, if you're not really homebound, don't say you're homebound to your audience. I mean, it is that simple. Yeah, I've looked at Social Blade with you guys before and have seen, the very consistent days and weeks that she is gaining a certain number of subs or views, and it is questionable. I think Charlene, it didn't want me to post your comment because you put the word bitch in there, but I don't care if you curse. Yeah, he is really sweet, and I really hope, like, nothing happens seriously between Sloan and Without a Crystal Ball, because he's so genuine. I really don't know how he would handle rejection like that, or her coming at him. I don't know if he would handle it very well. And that's not to say like he's incapable. I really don't know how he'd handle it because he is so sweet. Yeah, Petra, you're right. She can't be a victim to everybody. And that really is what she pushes. So if she's not pushing her own narrative, if she's not telling false truths, if she's not giving misinformation or misleading information, it is, woe me, this happened to me, feel bad about me, feel bad for me, give me money. That is very much her pattern. Yeah, Dottie, there are some YouTubers who talk about her history with Pathos, and I don't know why she mentions them all the time, because some of the videos, that I have seen of people talking about her time on Pathos, they deleted all of her content because it wasn't up to par, or there was questions about her, the way she was relaying information. I can't remember what other creator I had watched that was talking about that. There's a creator on here, and if I can remember her or find her, I will link her below once this post goes live. I mean, we are live. Once it like renders and is uploaded for me to edit, I will try and find her and see, but she actually worked at Pathos when Katie did and has a lot of information surrounding that whole situation. And I don't want to misspeak on it because it's been a little while since I saw her video. Are you kidding, Lauren? So for there's a lot of people. For me, 38 people is a lot of people viewing my chat. For anybody who is on the fence about Katie, I would highly suggest you go watch Little Red's channel and look for the lives. I know they're lengthy, I know, and we all don't have the time to sit for 3 hours and listen to them. However, I would really strongly advise, if you aren't really sure how you feel about Katie, to try and find the lives where she is talking with the moderators, old moderators from her channel. Those are very telling of who Katie really is behind the scenes and as a person. And it is absolutely vile and disgusting. Since I heard those lovely ladies, those brave, strong ladies tell their stories, I could never, and I mean never, look at Katie and have any ounce of respect for her. And I haven't even mentioned that and dragged her for that. Because I am not like Katie. I don't want to try and convince anybody to feel one way or another. I just want to be able to have conversations with people and talk about what's going on. Have an adult conversation where people feel comfortable to provide their opinions, whether it's agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. You know, that's what having a commentary channel is to me. Yeah, Pam, I agree with you. She definitely does. And, you know, no matter how this turns out, like what I can say for myself and what I think for Sloan and Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast is, although we have spoken up for the child and at times have we kind of defended the dad in our own ways, yes, we have. If it were to somehow come out that the dad conjured this all up and lied about all of this, would I feel confident in leaving my opinion and my content up? I think every single one of us would say yes, because we were doing it with the best interest at heart, which is for Sophie. If this turns out that the dad is right in everything that I'm getting mad. And everything that Katie has spewed and has said, do you think she is going to stand behind her content? Do you think she is going to leave her content up for people to digest and see how disgusting and deplorable she can behave? Absolutely not. She is going to delete that stuff in an instant. And, you know, to Melody, to some degree, like, not to defend her or anything, but to some degree, like, her family, somebody is homebound. Like, somebody does have to stay home with their child. I would hope they're at least not, she's not taking him out, like he's homebound, I'm sure. And one of the parents is probably staying there 24/7 to make sure he doesn't get further at risk for contracting it. But the fact that, you know, she's doing things she doesn't need to do to leave the house, like, that's where people have questions for her. I saw she tweeted out that she got a new makeup palette. Oh my gosh, I lost my spot again. Hey Della, how are you? Yeah, and what she did with the Brittany and baby thing was really kind of questionable. Like she made him feel like shit and sent a lot of her viewers after him by saying she didn't agree with what he said. And then in turn, like 2 weeks later, she was judging a different person for having children. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too, Katie. Like at some point, all of this is going to come back to her. I hate to say that, but at some point karma is going to come back. And this may be what it is. This may be her coming after Josh and Annie might be like the beginning of her downfall. I don't want her to lose her platform, but I want her to change the way that she reports on stuff. I want her to gain integrity. I want to be able to hold her accountable. And I feel that way for like any YouTuber. I don't think anybody should necessarily lose their platform except for the stoffers. Those people are pieces of shit. But beyond them, like I really don't think at this point I know of anybody that I would feel as comfortable as I do about them saying that they need to lose their platform. But do changes need to happen? Yeah. Do people need to change the way that they're putting out content? 100%. And I hope you guys feel comfortable. If you ever feel that way about me or my content, please let me know. Lauren said the lady's name is Suzanne that talks about working with her at Pathos. Well, I'm sure if you just type in Suzanne, Pathos, and Katie Joy, it would probably pop up. Okay. Bob and Carrie clarified the lady I was talking about who knows history of Katie and her Pathos stuff is Suzanne from No Longer Quivering. I will try my best to remember to find her channel and link it in my description. To be honest, if she went after Sloan, it would give him exposure. You know, you might be true. That mother funk, that might be very true. However, I don't know if Sloan could handle that emotionally. In addition to that, like she has mentioned him and has promoted him when the Micah stuff was happening. So other than like maybe new subs that she has gotten, I don't know if he would really gain that much traction from it. He's kind of perpetuating himself into the algorithm and stuff like that. He's been able to be super consistent lately and like post a lot of videos. Like he's pumping it out right now. So he's pushing his way into the algorithm. Hey, Jasmine. Yeah, B Hanny also does short recap on her to watch Little Red. Yeah, I've seen B Hanny, Hanny, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I've seen her videos pop up in my recommended, and I started a couple of them, and she seems to come from a pretty solid standpoint. I have not made it through any of her videos, not at any fault of her, more at my fault of not having the time when I started to watch it. But I know she does put good content out from what I have seen. I'm glad you feel that way, Lauren. Oh my gosh, I keep losing my spot. Yeah, but she said that the new diamond was not real. I mean, I don't know the truth of that. I don't know how much she spent on it. I mean, how she spends her money is honestly, she could be getting loans for all we know. Like, we really don't know. Is she making a good amount of money off of YouTube? Yes. And the income that's reflecting on Social Blade, I don't think includes super chats. Yeah, Dottie, I've heard her talk about having medical assistance in the house. I have heard her like when COVID happened, there was a live or something where she stated that, you know, they used to have them in for like 60 hours and some of that time got cut. So, and if her husband is home all the time, you know, I don't see why they would need a nurse there all the time unless medically he needs a nurse there all the time. I'm not going to act like I know what's going on with him medically because I have no idea. And that's not really my place or anybody's place to talk about his medical conditions. I think people just don't care, Jay, about the Duggars anymore. Like, they're kind of washed out at this point. I don't know. There were talks. Katie mentioned somebody was going to Nancy Grace. I don't know if that's true or if it's happened. Yeah, Melody. I understand where that would be heartbreaking. And like I said earlier, I'm sorry, you know, she kind of did that to you. I don't think that's right to do to any of your subscribers. I don't know if I fully agree with that, Kate, Bob, and Carrie. She said the sad part is the stunt has made every other story questionable. Any truth reported is now diluted. Do I agree that truth is diluted? Absolutely. But I don't know if this has stunted every other story and made it questionable. We always should be kind of questioning things anyways. I think this has hurt her credibility more than anything. And it is just making people think critically. It really is making you like understand that there really are two sides to everything. Like you know, sorry, my phone started going off. My watch, rather. I was like, why is it going off so much? It never goes off this much. So I knew there was something about Nancy Grace. I'll Google it in just a second. I'm trying to catch up in the chat. I'm not used to having this many people comment. So, and I want to be able to acknowledge everybody. So sorry for people who are waiting for me to get to you. I will as soon as I can. Exactly, Mandy. Mandy makes the comment, she'll delete it and blame it on trusting the wrong people. At some point, you have to be, if you're willing to put something out there, whether it be you're putting out a statement or you're putting out your opinion, you need to have the balls to back it up. Everything I have ever talked about where I am providing my opinion, it is my opinion. Can my opinion change? Absolutely. If my opinion changes in a very harsh way and you guys call me out on it, that's fine. That's being human. And if I don't have a legitimate reason on why my thought process changed, then you can question. That's when people can start questioning where your loyalty is lying, if that makes sense. For instance, in this case, like Katie, for example, Katie went to the Facebook group bragging about her following, expecting to get something out of it. She didn't. So then she miraculously has ended up in the opposite side's Facebook as what some of you guys are saying as a moderator. That is making a lot of people question her and her credibility because she flipped like that and she has no excuse for it. She is not able to tell her following why she initially posted in that Facebook group. If she could provide us a reason to what made her change her mind or what made her support publicly and openly support the opposing side she initially showed interest in, then she would gain some respect from me. But she's never going to do that because there's no reason that she did it. There's no logical reason for her to have done that because she would have addressed it at this point. Instead, that's something that she just never addresses. Anything that is like actually super questionable about her, if her followers bring it up, she deletes it, she ignores it, she won't address it. Does she have that right? Like, honestly, as frustrating as it is for her viewers and people who support her, that she doesn't, she has the right to not address it. I mean, it's her channel. The one where, oh, I don't know anything about the Duggars. Call me crazy. I never watched that stuff. She wasn't on TV a few hours ago. So now the mom is gaining. That was the other thing I wanted to say. Katie has always pointed out how Michael's been doing this for money and blah, 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 blah. At the end of that video, she promoted donating money to the mom because the mom's been staying in a hotel for her safety and she's running out of cash. That's quite interesting. Does she not have any family or friends that she can live with to prevent herself from being in a hotel? Or, you know, if she's being advised by like law enforcement or something, like there are resources they would connect her with to assist her in paying for that hotel. So I thought that was kind of super ironic that she promoted that at the very end. Oh man, I really lost my place. I'm sorry, guys. I might have missed a few comments, and I'm sorry if I missed one of yours. I don't know where I was at. If I missed one of yours, just re-comment it. I'm getting through them. She's been covering the Duggars for 2 years. I know she's been covering them for a while. And hey, if you get a solid fan base off of something and you feel the need to continue to provide updates, like I can see that. But isn't it like kind of multiple videos a day or at least multiple a week about the same family? Like that's, how can a family be that interesting? Dottie said it's ridiculous that she wanted answers from Kim Kardashian. Are you talking about when the Kanye West stuff happened? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Who does she think she is? Like, seriously, who do you think you are? There are other commentary channels that people are going to go to before yours. And what I found funny was she also made a comment that they said that they had been seeing her videos from the beginning and that they had been watching her videos from the beginning. And I'm like, because you were the only one who was willing to say the crappy things that you said about the child. Okay. Thank you, Jay. Which obviously she was talking about what's going on. I'm interested to what take she put on national TV. Deflection. Yeah, she likes to use the word deflection. I don't think she knows the definition of that word. Yeah, Lauren, I've had that comment a couple of times that people think she's a narcissist. Fundies are kind of interesting. Okay, I think I've finally. You haven't watched it yet because you're here. So in wrapping it up, because I've been on here way longer than I anticipated tonight, I appreciate everybody's who's here. If you are new and you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to describe. Wow, it's late here. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't, I would appreciate having you here. I go live multiple times a week and I post a couple of videos a week. I post all kinds of content if you haven't been here before, from makeup tutorials to nail tutorials to commentary. I also have multiple playlists on my channel. discussing my story and how I grew up in foster care and how I grew up being adopted and how that has affected me long term and things that I deal with in my daily life or that, affect me from being a child of the system. If any of that interests you, I suggest maybe clicking on some of those. So, Petra, I think I saw that live where she was talking about how wasn't it like the following live that she talked about how she's gonna have like a production in her house filming her for something? Thank you, Lauren. I'm glad you had a good time. And for anybody who's new here and who's contributed to the conversation, I really appreciate every single one of you. You have made this live so much better in providing your comments, whether, you were slightly disagreeing with me or bringing your opinion and your thoughts to the table. I appreciate that. Not everybody is confident in, putting their opinion out there. And it means a lot that you guys are always so open and willing to talk with me about some of these things. Yeah, not all of my lives are about Katie. I talk about mental health. I talk about substance abuse. I can talk about like childcare, the ways the system works. I do lives about just about everything. You got the hard part over, Lauren. The stressful part is the first live when you're commenting. I agree. It took me a while, and I've talked about that before. I used to be a very silent viewer. I didn't comment or participate in anything until I created my channel, and I realized, it really does help a YouTuber if you like the video, if you share it, if you comment on it. It helps people be aware that, your content exists. Yeah, Dottie, she brings up a lot of people consistently, like Dr. Grande, like Deaf Noodles. She brings those people up, I think, in hopes that they will see her video and hope that they will give her the shout out back. I really think that's why she does that. We know it's not going to be something like that, Bob and Carrie. I thought it was a total joke. And then I watched Little Red Stream and they were talking how Repzilla has mentioned it as well. So I'm like, what is going on? That's why she got her hair done. Seriously? Did she say that? Or are you just putting A and B together? Good night, Jasmine. Because of professional lighting. That is awesome, Lauren. I don't know if you probably were in my other stream. You said you usually don't comment, but I've got the one from last night. We talked about recovery and addiction and substances and things of that nature. It was all of talk about all of that. She's always getting scammed too. I don't think she's always getting scammed. I think she's making herself out to be the victim. She is the worst name dropper and attention seeker. Like that's all she's doing. And what's funny is she does it in her YouTube channel, but she doesn't do it on her Twitter, or at least not very often. But she won't at them, but she will like and comment on their tweets. She recently tried to get in cahoots with Peter Mon, Peter Mon's not going to deal with her BS. I can tell you that for a fact. She said that. I wonder when they're going to be filming for this and when like viewers will actually know what it is. Hi, Amy. I don't know if I've seen you comment tonight. Oh my goodness. So people are tagging Dr. Grande to do a video on KJ's narcissism. My education kind of covers partly mental health, not to a degree where I could ever diagnose, but I mean, she definitely has like textbook, if you look at the textbook, like there, I guess she does have a good bit of traits that could associate with that. Good night, Mandy. I'm glad you also participated. You're funny, Jay. You always provide some kind of sense of humor in your comments. It's okay, Lauren. Like, I don't want anyone to feel like they ever have to participate in the discussion. If you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable. And, you know, when you are comfortable, like you were tonight, you just ease yourself into it. Most of the time, like the same people are in the chat. You've probably noticed that we're all really supportive of each other. And it seems even the new people who've joined our chat tonight seem to be the same. Yeah, Petra, there were some, in Little Red's channel, there were some questions about that Katie said she was told she can't talk about it, but I guess either Repzilla or another YouTuber who's mentioned the same TV crew has been able to talk about it and said that Katie was maybe just saying that to garner more attention. So I don't know. And that's part of recovery, Lauren. There's nothing wrong with having a relapse. And that's kind of what we talked about, that, you know, it's a system. I hope you only the best and that, you know, this time is the last time, but if it's not, that's okay. You just have to keep that in mind. That's funny, Jen. I didn't see that. I haven't watched absolutely all of her videos lately. I've been really busy at work, and then I've been trying to film and still provide the time on my lives for you guys. So I haven't been able to consume as much YouTube content as I typically do. Yeah, I remember her talking about the Jessie Bear in the makeup video. I was kind of interested because I wanted to know how she did. She's done videos where she's done her makeup before, but I wanted to know how this other individual that's always, she's a mod for her. Yeah, this topic gets to a lot of people, especially when it deals with like multiple YouTubers. Like, and I've talked about this before when the BX Beast Boy and Katie drama happened. Like, they share similar subscribers. I'm not saying all of them are the same, but across the board, like, they share similar subs. I know some of you obviously are subscribed to Sloan, so you guys are probably subscribed to Josh as well. And, you know, it's almost guilting the subs to some degree. And that's why I think it might not turn out the best for Katie that she called out Josh, because Josh is more genuine, and I think subscribers are going to be more loyal to him than to her. That's my personal opinion. I think, you know, this is going to end up biting her in the ass because people actually care. Like, really, Josh has a hardcore fan base with good reason. Like, he is very much of an honest guy. He always talks about going with your gut, and I totally agree with him on that. Like, go with your gut. Oh, you guys just started chatting quicker and I missed some stuff. Let me scoot up. And don't let people judge you for that, Lauren. I know some people, and I talked about it then, I currently work with addicts who most of them are actively using. And, you know, there's a lot of stigma around that. Please do not let that ever deter you, because if that's what it takes for you to get to sobriety and maintain sobriety, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know if I lost what you were talking about, Bob and Carrie. I just see your comment or something about Micah and Stauffer. Little Red's doing a rewatch of what? Of Katie or of the mom's interview? Yeah, I always post my lives in the community, and I usually put it as a poll, if I remember. So you know what's funny is I kind of saw where Nikocado was joking about TLC being in his house, but I thought he was just joking because half the crap he says and does is just for trolling content. So I really thought he was joking. And so now I'm like, he must not have been joking. So if they are talking to Revzilla, Nikocado Avocado, and Katie, what kind of like interview could these be? Like talking about your YouTube experience, because they're all at different stages in YouTube. They've all kind of been problematic at some point or another. Jessie Bear video, Katie deleted it and pretended the video had a problem with her computer. I died when she said that. I didn't even know she ever posted it. She must have deleted it super quick. I didn't know that video ever got published. Oh man, what is going on with this computer? I keep messing up where I'm at in the chat. I think I found it. You get a backlash in some other channels and admitting that everyone's sobriety is different. You shouldn't get any backlash in any channel for you wanting to provide your opinion or tell your story, or, you know, people, especially creators, should, in my opinion, and that's kind of how I operate my channel, is, you know, I do want it to be a level playing field. And I talk about some super vulnerable stuff on here about myself. And I know I am putting myself out there for people to criticize and judge, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is other people judging my subscribers or people who come and watch my video and feel compelled enough to be vulnerable and leave those messages. If anybody ever leaves a nasty comment on one of your comments, let me know if I don't already address it, because I'm not okay with that kind of behavior. I'm not okay with anybody bullying my subs or people in my chat. If they're going to bully me, that's okay. I could honestly care less. I am one of the people who probably have the thickest skin you guys will ever know through the internet world. But I don't get offended by anything. But I'm not going to let people come at any of my subs, viewers, whatever you want to refer to yourself, who are involved in the chat. And even if you're not a subscriber of mine and you're just commenting, I have the same stance. Yeah, Josh does do an amazing job for it being his part-time. I agree with that. I don't even care if you're cursing me out. I don't typically care. Good night, Dottie. I'm not too far behind you. You think Katie could possibly get in trouble? I mean, I don't know. You really got to take it as a stance of, that would be like if Josh tweeted out, or if Annie tweeted out, you know, hey, what's her YouTube name? It's late. Hey, without a crystal ball, be careful what you say. I've heard through the grapevine, you know, that you might be getting in trouble. I mean, it's just accusations. Like, it really depends on how the family feel about how people have gone about it. If Josh and Annie or anybody who have spoken about this were going to get in any kind of legal issues, I would think they would have already received something telling them to stop talking about it. Yeah, Petra, I assumed she'd be going after somebody. I didn't try to perceive who, but I assumed that she was going to try and manipulate somebody to get involved with her to create more drama for herself. She lured you in with promises of makeup. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos of her where she does her makeup. Not that many, though. I think she probably got judged for doing her makeup, to be honest, and she didn't want to deal with the backlash or people judging her on how she did it. See, Jay, and if that's something that the dad really said, then that goes to show even more like Katie's just pushing a narrative, because if he was really out for money, he'd send her something to shut up. Exactly, Bob and Carrie. Recovering addicts are some of the most impressive, resilient people I've ever met. They are some of the strongest people I have ever met. Once you hit that sobriety, and I don't care how long this sobriety is, you congratulate every bit of your sobriety, because it is a hard battle. And once you get there, it is amazing. Oh my gosh, I just messed up. I might have missed some of your comments. Sorry. I just scrolled to the bottom on accident. Katie said it was a show about YouTubers. How so? It would be funny if she's with Nikocado, because she attempted to kind of cover his antics, and she did, in my opinion, she did a piss poor job of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the organized chaos. I saw Jessie Bear in there after it was mentioned in Little Red's chat that she maybe had left. I saw her back after that live. I've seen her in lives moderating within the last week. Yeah, she says, I've heard her say Jessie Bear is a professional makeup artist and has given her some advice in the past. You think it'll be on Shane Dawson or Tati? What would Nikocado have to do with Shane Dawson or Tati? Has he had any involvement with them? I know he's trolled just about everybody in his career on here. You got to give it to that man, though, as trollish and as out there he is a good marketing person, because he's got like 6 channels, all with like at least 200,000 subscribers on them. He is making some major money. Good night, Petra. Have a good night. Not on her eyebrows. People like to come for Katie's eyebrows. I don't even do mine. I'm not bad at them. Yeah, Katie has, since the BX Beast Boy stuff, and like, I'm coming from somebody who really hasn't known about Katie that long. I've known about Katie for the length of time I've been on YouTube. So what is that, like 3 or 4 months? And I found her from covering the Micah story. She, and like, since then, like, she has just plummeted on like how she treats other people, how she goes about her own content. Like, it's just getting worse and worse. Her lives are atrocious. I don't think her eyebrows are tattooed on, because if you see some videos where she doesn't have makeup, they're not like that. I didn't see Amy Jones' post, so I'm sorry. Oh, good night, Lauren. Petra, I think it's probably just like you know how Siri, or not Siri, how it'll autocorrect. I think that's probably why. Autocorrect isn't my friend either, I promise you. You think she started using stencils? I mean, if she's doing something to help herself out, like if you're getting judged for something and you don't want to get judged for it, like I don't blame her for trying to do better. A 3-tip stencil. Bye, Petra. Yeah, I keep saying the same thing, but you guys are super captivating, so I keep talking more and more. My husband's gonna kill me. Maybe it's henna. It would be, that might be an ignorant thing to say, but doesn't henna typically come off like brown or red? Okay, thank you, Jen. Never feel pressured, Lauren. Only comment if you want to. Yeah, I've noticed that there is more symmetry since people had really started coming for her eyebrow game in Little Red's chat. I was like, let me pay attention to this. And then I saw some videos recently and I was like, you know, they're not wrong. Like, okay, Bob and Carrie. That's what I figured. There probably were more colors. That's why I said I'm probably going to sound ignorant. At least I have the integrity to acknowledge when I'm making a comment that is probably going to make myself sound like a dumbass. Just saying. All right, guys. I hate to go because we're having such a good conversation, but I really do need to go. It's almost 9 o'clock here, and I haven't fed myself or my husband yet. So I have to cook dinner and get ready. For anybody who's new here, if you haven't and you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I do go live pretty often, and I try to post regular content. So my next live will probably be in a couple of days, unless something crazy happens tonight. Then just keep an eye out on my community tab. I will, if anything crazy happens, I typically post a poll if you guys want me to go live or not. So I leave it up to my community if I'm able to. Yeah, thank you for being here, the Organized Chaos. I've seen you in almost everybody else's chats in their lives and stuff. So I appreciate that you've been able to make it to one of mine. Sorry, it's at the very end. If you're interested in anything I have to say, you know, you can rewatch it, or if you ever want to reach out to me, you guys always know my DMs are always open. My handles are the same. Well, they're not anymore. They're Manda Pants Does Life on Twitter and on Instagram. I appreciate that, the Organized Chaos. It is, I do really try to stay neutral, but I will go off on Katie or anybody that I really don't agree with. I am not afraid to share my opinion because I really don't care about monetization or anything like that. I did get monetized, which I was shocked about, but I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it just for the community, quite literally. I want to be able to build a community to have these conversations and to help invoke thought, like not just thought for you guys, but for me too. You guys make me think. All right, so I am going to get going. I will see you guys soon. I'll post on my community tab because I don't know when I'm going to go live again, but it'll probably be Friday or Saturday. But thank you guys so much. It's been a great stream. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Have a good night. See you next time.